Hey y'all, what's up? Y'all know the deal. I'm just waiting for the room to fill up. While you hear, routine chat amongst yourself, hit that like button. Everybody doing good? I want to say welcome to everybody in the room so far. Shout out to Twin Pyramid. Thank you very much. I see your comments. You're one of the most consistent commenters and supporters, and I really appreciate you, brother. Of course, Sean Starlight, what's up? Tamari D, you say TikTok is back, y'all. Okay. And of course, Miss Kitty Lulu, glad you're making it. Got your back, my family holding it down. Uh, Lucifer Von Tell, hadn't seen you in a while. What's up? Can y'all hear me well? I got a new webcam. I had tried to go live a few times. There was just a bunch of technical difficulties, so I had to get a new webcam. So this is a totally different setup. Can y'all tell the difference? Does the camera, is it showing up clearer than the previous live streams or what? Oh, good. You hear me well. Everybody doing well? I'm not going to make this one too long because I have to cook dinner. I'm always multitasking. There's always a lot of stuff going on. But I did say that I would do a live stream first of the year. Like I said, I tried it a couple of times. It was always something going on. So we're here together now. And those who need to hear and make this connection, oh, it's looking good. Good. Those who need to hear and make this connection, it will be so. I can look out the window and I can see clearly that there's another storm coming. I'm not a big fan of this time of year, but I work with it. Um, the weather has been very, very interesting. And let me tell you guys, um, we've been talking about a pole shift for some time. The pole shift corresponds with the shift in consciousness. But make no mistake about it, some of this stuff is manipulated. These weather patterns, they're absolutely manipulated. And what I am saying right now is going to tie into my first talking points when it comes to prophecies, predictions, and program. I want a few more people to come on up in here before I really get into the meat of this one. The dark side of the moon. Welcome, fam. Happy New Year to you too. Uh, Miss Quiet Queen says all fog here and snow. We're in the same area, so yeah, I see the fog. We don't quite have snow on this end just yet, but I see it. It's definitely coming. For me, when the weather's like this is the best weather to rest and meditate or sleep. Other than that, I'm not a fan of it at all, be it natural or man, man, manipulated. That's one of my play on words. LL Hi, I remember you since years ago. Hope you are well. Well, look at me. Don't I look like I'm doing pretty well? I was just looking at one of my videos like 9, 10 years ago. Sometimes I like to go down memory lane and I put out so much content, I forget. And I look back on it and I see the growth, but I was dropping some serious gems back then and I still do. I can't share everything because y'all know this platform is heavily censored, it's heavily monitored, and I'm very clear that there are forces watching. That in the middle of spiritual warfare, you never let the right hand know what the left is doing, and vice versa. So you know you guys, when you tune into content maker, right, it's not just about what we say, it's about the frequency emanating from the share. So when I speak in codes, or if I'm thinking something and I may not come right out and say it, those who are on the frequency, they will get it. So when we see all of these people out here who have massive platforms, and people say, "Oh well, how they working for the opposition if they are allowed to reach thousands and millions of people?" people don't understand it's bigger than words. It's about the frequency that the person who's presenting is emitting. Many of these people are copying and taking information from those of us who are being shadow banned, and they study it and they kind of wrap it differently, but their calibration levels, and I'm telling you, and if I was one of those messy people, I would call them out by name, but they're going to be exposed in their own way. I'm above that. That's why y'all don't see me getting online, getting into gossip, beefs, blasting groups based on identity politics. I want to get into that, identity politics, because that's low tier mess. Someone who's claiming to be woke and a teacher and highly knowledgeable and getting downloads from advanced deities, there is no way. Look me in my eyes. There is no way anyone who is a high level deity walking the path of righteousness, who stay online using and playing on identity politics, blasting, putting down people based on identity politics, claiming to be connected to a higher deity, or claiming to have a high calibration, or really claiming to be a true prophet, or prophetess. Because I can go toe to toe with the best of them, and again, if I was one of those messy, low tier types, I know better. And if I engage in that, I will be corrected instantly. I'm putting y'all up on game because these people still are reaching far more people. And a lot of the things that are going on right now, they're trying to sell it as if it is prophecy when it really is not. It is programming and it is agendas being played out by people who have access and resources and understand how this matrix work that the average person have no clue of. But because I got 1 foot here and 1 foot outside the veil, and so does many of us who have the same ability. But the problem is we see what's really going on, but we're not able to, or not on this plane, able to reach and make the people aware of what's really going on. However, there is a contingency plan. A contingency plan means when one door and one thing doesn't work, there's several other backup plans that we are permitted by a higher council to go around and get the information out to the people. Now, there are those who understand how reality works and that this is really just a frequency, consciousness, and awareness game. Solidity, like I've been saying for years, it's just a projection of mind. So if you can get to the mind, right, you can program that mind, you can intercept the creation and the thought of that mind, and you can manipulate it. But one who understands, or ultrastand means the ultimate level of understanding. Does not mean someone knows all, but it is the ultimate level of understanding. We truly bring it from a pure place. We're not motivated by money, clout, status, and fame, and a part of a group who's going to benefit from a so-called prophecy or prediction. Because again, when a certain so-called prophecy or prediction plays out, there are other parts that come along with it. So let's just say if the other party who ran, and I know a lot of people have this perception that the person who won, which you guys know, I never waned in all the years that DT would end up getting back into the White House. I never waned through all of the BS. Why? Because I saw through the smoke and mirrors, and I was very clear on what needed to happen for the best potential outcome for the majority. Had the other timeline played out, those who think that this timeline is the worst for us, they have it totally flipped and backwards. The fact that you have the mainstream media and the majority of the most popular content makers and influencers out there selling the narrative that the one that the system is clearly against, And they want to say they're all in the same bed. To a certain degree, that is true, but there's another perspective where that is not the whole truth. So the system that's pushing a narrative, a one-sided narrative, the most popular narrative, as they suppress and censor everyone else who's bringing a different narrative, cannot be working for the better good of all. It just does not work that way. So I want you guys to take in what I'm sharing and you pass this on to other people. When these so-called prophets and prophetess get up here, and these people that got quote unquote inside intel, yeah, they got inside intel from those off-world forces and those on the ground who are working together as a network to get the people to create and manifest a reality based on years of programming and scriptures. Okay, if you can get billions of people reading that who are in a programmable state, they're not thinking, they have no discernment, they're not thinking outside the box, and you feed this to billions of people for years and years, and then you turn around, you have the resources to set up the staging and the characters to make it look like what is really scriptures. And I'm not saying all of it is bogus, but a lot of it is. It's always a mixed bag. When people ask me what's going on, I tell them that if someone comes along and try to say it's just one thing, they're already not seeing a bigger picture. I always say it's some of both, or some of all. It depends on the level of perspective and the level of consciousness that the person perspective is on. They don't see that they are interdimensional beings who have the ability to communicate telepathically and they can masquerade and pretend to be God. I know, I see it. I see them. They can't fool people like us. So when people come and say, well, God told me this and God told me that, the first thing I ask them, which one? Because there are many gods, but there's only one prime creator source. See, that's the play on words. There are many, many, many gods. You all are gods. We are all gods. And those who say, oh, that's blasphemous, your own Bible tells you that Yeshua, and I'm going to call him by the name he went by when he walked the earth, Yahawasha. I mean, people pronounce it differently, but Yeshua is the closest. Yeshua, a lot of his teachings was completely taken out of context and taken out of order. And I can speak on this because I have spoken and interacted with him multiple times in spirit. Many of us who are walking the righteous path, we're cut from that same cloth. This is why we are allowed to do things that seems impossible or seems miraculous to the average person, because we are one. We are extensions of the Christ body. Yeshua was the first to come to earth when we fell, when this earth plane and all its inhabitants fell in frequency. He lowered his frequency, but a avatar had to be created powerful enough to hold his frequency. So this is where they say there was and this is true when they said it was what they call immaculate conception, meaning there was no sex involved when he was conceived in artificial insemination. That's basically what it was, because when two people come together, have sex in a primal state, depending on the state of consciousness of the male and female, the avatar that they create is going to match the frequency of their thought, their intention, the level of consciousness that they're on. So they had to use a human vessel who was pure, a virgin, who was not polluted by y'all, my filters is way my filter, who's not polluted by how can I say this? Of a wound that has not been tainted by dirty pain that's been all up in any and everything. So a version of someone who is pure, high in frequency and calibration by an off-world entity or being planted that for Yeshua to come into hell and try to wake up and make those who fell in frequency, make them aware. And what he was doing, he never told people to worship him or to accept him. What he said was, apply, follow my teachings, and you will awaken the God in Christ within. These other people have taken it and twisted it and got folk externalizing their power and worshiping a false Christ. This is what we call the Antichrist. Idol worshiping, online selling your body for money and material gains, and that's a form of an Antichrist. Getting on the internet, laughing and being entertained by the fall, the harm and suffering of other people. That is very Antichrist. Getting online, bashing a specific community based on identity politics for the same mess that every group got people inside doing. That is very Antichrist. But you see, they don't want me or people like me who see through all this BS reaching and making the people aware of this, because they have something to lose if we were allowed to do so. Now, coming back to prophecy and prediction. Y'all know I had this ability. When I was really young, I was doing this unconsciously because from day one, nothing but negativity was, for the most part, poured into me. Aside from my mother and my sister, that's why we're super mega close to this day. And my nephews and my very, very close family members, I didn't get nothing but negative attacks, negative signals about my image, who I am, what I represent, how I vibrate. No one was pouring love and life into me. So even though I was doing these, I had all of this talent, I had all of these abilities, I felt like crap because people were trying to, and I understand now that that was a part of the program to throw me and people like ourselves off our square. So I never thought of myself as a seer or a prophet or psychic, or that word is very muddy and dirty now. But I didn't see myself as that when I was a little boy, although I was doing it off and on. I'm going to give you an example. When my sister and I used to play on the phone, and I got many stories like this. When we used to play on the phone, that was our entertainment because we didn't relate with the average hood folk. Um, I just told my sister, I said, one day we're not going to be able to do this because they're going to come up with a device where when we call it, the number is going to show up and they're going to know it's us. I said that at 14, just like that, just saying it, just new stuff. Now we have the call ID. The call ID has been out there for years. I can give so many examples. I can also remember, and I've only done this a couple of times when I've been out and about, and someone will walk in or come into my vicinity, and I am compelled to. There's a little. It only happened with two boys. I hadn't witnessed this with a female yet, although there are females with this ability. There were two little boys. The first time I did it, I was on the playground and this lady came over. Now I was a little older at this point, but a lady came over with her little boy. Right away, when I looked at the little boy, when he came in front of me and he was looking at me and I looked at him and we made eye contact, I looked at his mother. I said, he's a prophet. He's a prophet. Do y'all know? And may the Almighty Higher Council know. That's why I don't get online and lie about nothing. Do you know what that lady said to me? She said, his name is Prophet. Then she said, my husband named him. My husband is a Muslim. Now that ties into one of my talking points in terms of prophecies, is that the Christian community seems to think that they have the authority, or the only group that has legitimacy when it comes to people who have this ability. One who is a prophet is not one whose that ability is not just respective of religion. It is an inherent belief that certain beings are going to have, no matter what, regardless of the religion, the group, or whatever they identify as. It just so happened, if they make these predictions or have this ability within those groups, it will appear that the two go hand in hand. But in the bigger picture, it's not. It's just beings who have this ability, and their role is to give warnings to those of us when we are heading towards a certain path that may not be the very best for us. And what we're supposed to do, we're supposed to warn the people, right? And then offer potentials or solutions to thwart that path. How many of these prophets going out there doing that? These people, all they do is just, oh, this is coming, this terrible event is going to happen, and they say it like it's a done deal. This is why all of the prophecies do not play out to a science. Someone who has done it and getting more and more in tune and understanding the complexities of it. If anyone is not telling you that this is a potential that could happen, but it could change because of X, Y, Z, or you need to do X, Y, and Z, they're not truly tapped in, or they are working for forces who want that in one narrative out there so that the people stay in fear and in that predictive programming and shape and pull forth and manifest that reality. And if they were to do that, and all those who believe that, they and those beings would manifest that reality collectively. And guess what? Those beings would still have them enslaved over them, under them. You get it? So prophecy is the ability to foresee very unfavorable events and situations, and we are to make the people or the person aware that this is a potential. But at the same time, we're supposed to offer solutions and offer solutions and ideas that can possibly shift it. But if the person don't take it, that's on them. If they don't take it, we can't make them people do anything. We can't force anything. We're simply here to kind of be a beacon of light, a guiding light, so to speak. So if someone is using their ability, saying that God told them this and that and this and that, and it's already in complete alignment with something that's been out there for a long time, and they're not telling you that it could possibly change. This is how a lot of them are getting exposed, these people, because again, they're not always lying. That they believe in their mind, they believe that the ultimate almighty creator is communicating with them. In their mind, they believe that. Again, they don't understand or ultrastand that they are multi-dimensional, interdimensional beings who have the ability of telepathy, and these interdimensional beings are working with some of the power structures down here on the ground. And that happens with the other side as well. It happens on both sides. But if people are just pushing doom and gloom and it's all no hope, 0-0, they either don't know no better, they're either under misleading, deceptive forces, or they are calibrating very, very low, and they are ciphering and they're empiric in nature and feeding and have something to gain off of that low frequency energy. Do you guys get it? Someone said something about orbs, and that's actually, yeah, I think I put it on the header that's going to be one of my talking points. Now, one more thing I want to say about predictions. When all of the truth comes out and the dust settles, we will look behind. And I know it doesn't. It looks ridiculous and impossible. Again, I'm the same person from the very last election, had never waned one single bit, and I was telling you guys and warning about the corruption and how they will make the innocent appear to be guilty. And I'm not implying at all that DT, you know what that means, because certain words can trigger the algorithm. DT is perfect and got it all together. You have to be made and built a certain kind of way to operate on that level. But I am telling you that when everything comes out, when all the dust is settled, a lot of people are going to be eating crow, and they're going to realize that that was the best potential, especially people who brought children here and who care about their bloodline. That was the best potential for everyone. Will it be perfect and heaven on earth? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that after everything plays out and after all the turbulence, all the truth comes out and things manifest the way it needs to be to bring back balance on this plane, you all will see that, and he will go down in history as the greatest president to have ever lived. I know it sounds ridiculous, and I'm not a Trump supporter. I am a seer. I am a messenger. I'm not emotionally connected, and I didn't vote for neither party. I stopped voting. The last person I voted for was Clinton. The only reason why I voted for him was because he said something that totally resonated with me, and that was that the White House should reflect what America is, meaning everybody who represent a certain group, tribe, or quote unquote race, which is a social construct. But what he said is absolutely true. Every group should have someone representing them at the table. We have these so-called prophets and these so-called advanced beings still down here pushing division that only one group should be at the table making decisions. So I ask, how in the hell are these people going to be leaders of the human race without diversity when we're really in the core, really just variations of the same nucleus? How in the hell are these people going to handle dealing with beings who look absolutely nothing like us? They reproduce nothing like us. They make love nothing like us. Some of them don't even have a concept of love, but they so advanced. Please tell me, how is that possible? They're so advanced in knowledge. That's what they say. Again, those who have eyes and ears and that high calibration level, we see through all of them. And this is one of the reasons why you will never hear none of them giving me a shout out. I've been on here longer than most of them. You got to question how and why these people talk about some of the same things I was brave enough to get out here and talk about 16 years ago, and they know who I am, trust me. And they not one of them ever gave me a shout out, but they're all got the same talking points. And let me tell you something else they're really good at doing. They're really good at looking like they're trying to expose somebody, like a so-called and I'm not gonna say no names because I'm not playing into that beef. Somebody taking something and trying to get some drama going because people love beef and drama. You are you're using your platform to expose someone, right? And you keep talking about this person, and this person is low frequency, a Decepticon, a false everything. But when you keep talking about someone over and over, you're promoting them. This is how a lot of these guys got big. So they're really in the same circle, pretending to be against each other and get on there and make it like they're exposing them when they're really promoting them. But they never talk about somebody like me who got out here and took some of the hit. There were those who were before me who took bigger hits than me, but I took some serious hits when I came out. And these people know it, and because a lot of them was watching me then. But they never shout out those who are not on here doing it for money. I've been on here 16 years. The only money that I've gotten from here, from being on this platform, with those who felt it was right, and it is the right thing to do. If you gain something from someone and your life is enriched by it, the fair and righteous thing to do is to compensate if you can in donations. I was doing that before I even took on my platform. I listened to others who were before me, and I sent them donations, and they weren't even asking for it. It's just the right thing to do to balance the energy. But I had to go through some things to learn the hard way that as long as I'm constantly giving, and the people are taking, that energy was being it was backfiring on me and causing me problems. So I had to set boundaries. And the minute I set boundaries, those same people who was taking, getting all this free stuff started bad mouthing me, and they got corrected on that. Because one thing you never do, you never sit there and accuse someone of something because you're unable to manipulate them to keep getting something that you feel entitled to. And anyone who feels like they are entitled to just take something from someone, their sacrifice, their hits, and their hard work, I already know they don't deserve it. So this is where I had to set boundaries myself. So you see, the prediction that I made about Trump, the corruption that I was talking about all along, you see more of that is coming out. Even though this is a perfect example of what I was talking about, how trajectories change. Y'all know I have always said I do my readings based on the current trajectory, but trajectories can change because there are so many parts going on, timelines clashing. There's so many different hands and levels involved that it's even harder to map. So about 4 months ago, I posted in the community guideline that there was a potential that the Harris would step down due to an issue, and by default, Trump would win. That was a real timeline, but the reason why that didn't play out by the time the election came, too many people gave into the fear mongering, thanks to the very people I'm talking about, because listen to me carefully, y'all, because they fooled a lot of people. They got people who were very reputable and being accurate with those kind of predictions with the presidencies. They had these highly reputable prophets and prophetess, and I'm talking about interdimensional beings, and they all were in on it. Those who were pushing for the other, they thought they had it so in the bag that they got so comfortable and cocky, right? Instead of simply saying, well, there is still the potential. No, they were outright telling people that this person was going to win. Now, yes, I did the same thing, but the difference is the majority of the people weren't saying Trump was going to win, especially when all the lawsuits and all that stuff came out. No, the majority of those with the most biggest platforms, especially folk that are reaching melanated people, and there's a reason for that, they were using all these highly reputable people to say, oh, she's going to win. She got it. Look at what happened. And in the process, all of them got exposed. And there were people who were so hell convinced that she would win. Some of them were watching me, and about 14 people unsubscribed to my channel when Trump won. Now, you're going to get mad and unsubscribe, which I don't give a damn, because these subscription numbers ain't doing nothing for me. Remember that. I'm not getting paid. Remember that. So I don't care. So 14 people unsubbed from my channel when Trump won because they got mad because obviously my prediction came true. And so a lot of these people had this anger, this displaced anger. They just want to take it out on whoever. So those people unsubscribed because they wanted this other person. Now, mind you, a lot of these people who wanted her to win are so-called Christians and believers of the biblical God. And we know within that context, again, context, perspective, what that biblical God is for and against. So how can you claim to be Christian and Christ-like, and you mad because the person that is doing just about everything that the Bible is against, represent just about everything the Bible is against? You mad because you would rather accept that than someone you've been programmed to believe is really here to enslave you, take you out, all these narratives that these people have been pushing. And people have such short attention span. People forget so fast Trump was already president. If he was up to all those things, why wasn't he doing that when he was in office? See, I don't fall for the BS. I look skin deep. I look at energy. I look at frequency, vibration, and I filter it. I'm going to tell you one more thing. I want to move on. There's so many parts to this. If someone does happen to have the innate ability, and I have to even check myself to predict something, right? Or to predict or read, If they are still holding on to a bias or prejudice, it's going to corrupt the reading. So a lot of these people who were wanting and pushing for Kamala to win, who some of them may have this ability to a degree, they were already off and going to be wrong because they got their ego all wrapped up in it. So this is one of the lessons. Remember what I said years ago? I said DT will get back in there, but certain events have to play out and involve our lessons for all, even Donald Trump. Did you guys know? Did you see how much more humble he is now versus when how he was back then? And he's changed. These series of events has changed him as well. So this is how deep and layered this stuff really is. And I want you guys to always keep in mind everything that I say. If it doesn't resonate, fine. But if it does, great. That's what it's all about. That's why I'm here. Now, my next talking point is about these so-called orbs and these other things that are, you can't even say it. It's what I can't stand about these platforms, all this manipulation. And okay, let me just talk about orbs. Y'all know I've been demonstrating, illustrating orbs in my videos. I've talked about them. I've even shared an experience when I saw my mother in between this realm and going into spirit. What a lot of people don't understand is how connected water is and the ocean and rivers are to spirit. There are portals and gateways in the water. This is why we are majority water. Some of us are portals and gateways. Some of us can open portals and gateways. So these orbs, now I'm not talking about the other thing. I'm talking about these things that are not natural. They're not natural to this earth plane that are showing up everywhere. Those things have been floating around. They've been around forever. This is why people such as myself have been talking about them. That's what we really look like if we were to drop all our forms. And in that orb, in that sphere of light, is the consciousness and the soul matrix of everything that being had been in that. And so these orbs that are coming up, I'm not talking about man-made stuff, the military stuff. I'm talking about the organic beings that are coming up. They're coming up through the waters and they're coming through the trees. I would see, and for years, and I've talked about this, I would see them all hovering over the trees. And they would just be sitting there. These are among the monitoring spirits. Now, let me see how many of y'all are paying attention. How do I spell spirit? My play on the word spirit. Let me see if somebody knows. Could you type it? There you go, Ramon. That's right. Hey, what's up, Ramon? I did it that way for a reason. Sphere, it's neither male, female, black, white, alien, reptilian. It's a sphere of consciousness. However, what you will find is that these beings who have mastered that level to transform their entire being into a sphere of light, they're highly advanced in that realm. They can present themselves in many different ways. I had an experience, I'm just going to say it was a spirit, right? Where I was interacting with a member who identified as an Anunnaki. And these guys don't play, but they have a sense of humor, right? And in the beginning, they present themselves in a way that they felt I would be most comfortable with. I'm literally sitting and looking face to face, interacting with one of these. There were others there, but I was this one particular one. He was sitting in front of me, and we were communicating telepathically. And he told me, he said, "Well, I don't want to show you in my truest form because I don't want to make you uncomfortable." Just as I say down here when I'm interacting with all kind of people, be yourself. Let it all hang out. I would prefer that. Take a guess what he said, okay, and he let his real form show. Take a guess. Let me see if somebody would guess what he looked like. when he let his natural form show. I'm not going to say, hopefully somebody will say it. I'll give you a clue. It's an insect. Anybody want to take a guess? I'm going to start doing more of this interactive type thing instead of me just sitting here talking. That's a good one. Close, but not quite. And those beings do exist too. And they are among some of the most spiritual. It's insects. I've seen them too. Close, but not quite. Okay, they exist too. Y'all be surprised. A lot of so-called angels shapeshift into insect-like beings as well. So, okay, this is going to be the biggest clue. Not a fit. Well, okay, if you know there is a connection. If you know my government name, the prefix of my government name, the prefix. There you go. Somebody got it. Astral EJ. Now, how many people do you think can handle a highly intelligent being who look like that giant and can morph itself into a ball of energy and really can shapeshift and look like anything it can think of? Some of us are actually we have our oversoul is one of them anyway. So when you're interfacing with these beings and you're connecting telepathically and from a pure authentic place and you're used to it, this stuff to me, it's terrifying to the average person. All this stuff is going on, this is normal to me, and people are just seeing what people such as myself, how we've been seeing the world forever. um Someone said interesting because most people get politics from ants and insects, and even apartments come from ants. Very good point. Now, I want to make the point too that it's something I've always said. There is no all good and all bad of any species. You have some of everything across the board. This is why people who get wrapped into identity politics, they clearly ain't there, because you can find anyone on here who accused Trump of this or Biden of that, Kamala of that, black people of this, white people of that, the reptilians of this and that, this group and that group. You will clearly see that those same behaviors and patterns will be found in all of them. So to try to use one negative to demonize an entire group is very antichrist. And I don't care what anyone has to say about that. I'm sticking to it. Not all skin folk are kinfolk. Some of the most beautiful, loving beings in the universe would look nothing like us. Remember, these are just costumes. These are outfits. It's like these beings, they're so evolved. These beings I'm talking about, they don't have to die. When they're done with their life, they can just get up, and it's like us taking off clothes. We're far from getting to that level. You still got humans still thinking, oh, when I die, that's it. Now, yeah, if you are a what they call it, you are just a program in the machine, like a holographic creation being controlled by AI. That is very real. But even that is going to hold some level of consciousness. It may not think, but it will have some level of awareness still. Okay, so this is what's going on with from my perspective. It's not just one thing, it's always multiple things. And I have to watch how I say this. With the veil thinning, the portals and gates are becoming looser and unhinged. And because of the cleanup that is going on, yes, unfortunately, there is a purge going on. There is, unfortunately, the depopulation is going on. But I'm telling everybody, and I'm not fear mongering, I'm telling everyone, if you are not out here being foul, low vibratory, playing in the cesspool of degeneracy, you really have nothing to worry about. You're not out here harming animals and children and robbing and gang banging and being a violent, just being just a savage, which down here they make being a savage something to be proud of. No, it's not. Now, there are some beings who have accepted that's what they are, and that's where they are. That's where they're going to stay, right underneath the underworld. And the gods don't do that to them. They do that to themselves by their choices. They choose to do things to keep their frequency low. When I talk about beings cutting themselves off from the Godhead, I'm not implying that the gods are doing this to them. They do it to themselves by their own choices. So, how many of you guys saw the video the short that I put up where I challenged the minister who she was one of those people who everybody was going to hell. She was very judgmental, very bitter, angry. She was doing a lot of projecting too. How many of you guys saw that video? In that video, I challenged her in her frame of mind. And in that moment, she realized that either what she has accepted as gospel is not the truth, or she is not the truth. Because if a mother's love, we've seen a mother, be it a human mother or an insect mother, a mother out in the wild, a mother more than a father would put her life on the line to protect her offspring, no matter how bad, how rebellious, and how even disrespectful that child is. We even see human mothers who are treated like trash by their children. That mother's love is so strong, she still would not want the worst for their child. And that's where I was going with that young lady. You can't claim that you are worshiping an omnipresent, all-knowing, unconditional love, a loving God, right? But you are down here in your lower human form. You're not all knowing. You don't even understand why your child is doing what it does. But this all knowing, omnipresent God that you say you believe in knows, but you are saying there is nothing as a mother, as a parent, your child would do that you will purposefully cast them into uh, the worst hell imaginable, but you are mortal. So again, my rhetorical question to her was, are you implying that your mortal, limited love is greater than the almighty omnipresence love? She couldn't answer, and she told me I'm not supposed to question God. What I said to her, I'm not questioning God. I'm questioning the God that you're presenting to me as the God. I'm questioning you. This is what I said to her. So she told me she was going to take it to her pastor. Her pastor couldn't even answer or give a response to it. So again, where I'm leaning to, that is again an example of the many gods that I'm talking about, and they were all nice, loving beings. And they are not the ultimate almighty, okay? They were beings who were more advanced and may have known more, had technology, knew more than the average human. But a lot of that is still going on to this very day. A lot of these people are believing that the ultimate almighty is communicating with them when it is not. So you guys see the difference. Let me just make sure with the orbs, the spheres of light, these beings are coming in and they are a part of the cleanup. They are connecting with those of us, the what they call the star seeds, the indigos. The righteous ones are connecting with them. So if you are seeing beings who don't appear human, or if you are seeing these orbs, when you go out and about, they're trying to establish communication. If you are having astral projection experiences, if you are seeing beings that look otherworldly, like beings of light, yes, they can willfully project themselves on the astral and in your dream state as well. And they are also uh, pulling some people up in their altered states. It's a lot going on. So this is all a part of the great awakening, the great shift. There are just more of them coming in, and we have those who are going to use this as a means, because they can't stop it. They're seizing the moment to push a different narrative, to create another level or layer of predictive programming to get the people to manifest a frequency and plane of consciousness where they remain on top and in power. So it's all connected. Remember that dream vision I shared 4 years ago with the mall situation with the being, the ore being came down on the ground, and all of that is connected to everything that's going on now. And what did I say? I said they were not harming the average people. They were attacking men in suits. Remember the Matrix? What do men in suits represent? What are men in suits symbolic of? The power structure, the members who are what's the word? Characters of the Matrix programming. They call them Smith something. What did they call those? Where they can replicate themselves and they were all in suits. Agents of the Matrix. Yeah, that's really the group that I'm talking about. That I see. That's really who these beings are. So those on the opposite end, they are terrified. They know there's nothing they can do to stop these beings. Agents, right? Agent Smith. That's what I was hinting at. So again, do not get caught up in the fear mongering around all this stuff. Now I'm gonna tell you guys another sign that these beings are making a contact. I wish I had one there. If you see some, they look like wood chips. They're kind of like, it's hard. They look like pea pods, but they're open and they're kind of bent and they made like these. They're when they physically come into your space and your property, they leave these wood chips all on the ground. That's another sign that you're connected and uh they're making a particular connection with certain people on the ground level. They're wood chips, but they're perfectly made, and you looking, and when you look at them, you can't figure out exactly where they come from because you don't have nothing to tie it to, but they look like lots of wood chips. This is all very real and it is going up. I'm not saying going down. It's going up for us, but going down for people who ain't done that real work and who have not elevated and raised their frequency. It's showing 32 people in the room and 19 likes. What's up? Y'all know the politic here. So again, how do y'all suppose I have allegedly almost 14,000 subscribers and I never get more than 30 people whenever I do a live? But I'm the one that people need to be running from. I'm the one that, don't listen to him. He's a warlock. He's a witch. He's this. Again, whatever the most popular narrative is that's being pushed down here, y'all, and I know I'm preaching to the choir, but someone who may not know this is going to receive this. Whatever the most popular narrative is, and those who have the least following, who've been the most consistent and been doing this the longest, they're going to try to convince you that they are the problem and not the ones that's really out here making all the noise and got the attention of the masses. Sarah Divine, what's up, fam? Sarah Divine, you know I told you that before ADP, right. Who else is something out? EJ, what's up, EJ? Glad you made it. Sean, what's up, Shondale? I have tell your daughter I said, hey, Sarah. Okay. Let's see, what time is it? Like I said, I gotta cook dinner. That's pretty much it. I'll answer a couple of questions and I'm going to close this one right in 5 minutes. Y'all got any questions? Revamp Skunk, what's up, fam? I always hated Sean Starlight. Shondell says, I always hated popularity. I think popularity is overrated. This is why I always prefer unpopularity over popularity. And I'm going to take, I agree. Shondell, do you know why they do that? They get people and they elevate them and they call them superstars and they put all this wealth and prop all this stuff around them. It's to create an inferiority complex within the people and to um, generate this idol worship culture where the people are worshiping, praising, and giving all their energy to these people. Now, keep in mind, we're all stars in our own right. We're all superstars in our own right, but they're going to give you this illusion that if you're not a celebrity, you don't have a mass following on social media, your music ain't popping, you ain't you ain't highly desired, you ain't nothing, so you feel insecure and fall into the predictive programming they got going on down here. That's why they do it. Sarah Devine said, she said, hey, she's excited to see you. Oh, thank you, Princess. Thank you so much. You know, she's tapped in. I love to see the babies who are tapped in. They're the ones going to take this thing to the next level. She is so full of purpose, and I'm so glad to sharing her journey. Much love to both of you guys. Revamped Skunk says, I think with the veil thinning, I've had a couple of instances where I may have been in that reality in a dream state before. Absolutely, because you're in tune. I'm sure you have. Astral EJ, the world is our stage. Yes. The captain, what's up to the captain? Much love. Who was the being you saw in the last vision? Remember, I mentioned Anu. The last vision. The last vision, I had so many. Which be specific. Uh, Twin Pyramid says, what does it mean if you had a dream you were in a massive empty room and alone? You okay? I'm a kind of. This is a part of a reading for you, Twin Pyramid. That okay? How can I say this? You were contacted. They're establishing the space. They're establishing a space with you. Was it all white? Was the room all white? They do that. They often shift us into, or they come into our bubble, or they can shift us into a bubble, and that's the way they're getting us comfortable with being in that space, so that we're not alarmed when they make that when they make the next level of make us aware of that next level of contact, so to speak. And it's also to get us to reflect on our own thoughts at the same time. It was fully lit. Yes, yes. You were in your own orb, or you were or being brought their orb within your own space. So you were in that state. You were pure mind. You're in that space. So as a connection is being established, fam. That's the best I can say. So do not fear it. Embrace it. See it for what it is. And it's no coincidence that is the case, because you're drawn to content like this. That's why you intuitively know that this stuff is more than real, because it is you. That's an extension of you. Your frequency. You vibrate on that tier of awareness, and you're ready. Um, EJ say, I saw you say any mean ant people. Like I say, they are positive and negative in all groups. The correct term would be people say agreeable, disagreeable. Anu. Okay, let me go back. You say who was the being? No, the being that I saw in my video was not Anu, but it was an Anunnaki. These beings, yes, they are very real. You said, Astral, you met a tall black being who spoke telepathically to. Yeah, I've interacted with all kinds. Yes, these were now these guys. They were now I'm older. They were trying to recruit me. These guys, and they'll tell you, we know who you are, and we know why you're here. They were trying to recruit me. They were among the group. These are the fallen. They were among the fallen angels, and yeah, they. Even though I enjoy, and I don't judge these guys, I don't. It's one of the reasons why they respect um, people such as myself, because I don't disrespect them. I take it at face value. Now, yeah, they have a way. If you're not down with the program, they'll try to mess you up and sabotage and try to make things not happen. Some of them will, but they didn't harass me. They didn't bother me like some of the other groups, the ones like who still control the internet. But I am aware of Anu too. That's a whole now that is a whole nother ball of wax. I don't even think I will ever share what I know about that. It's so out there and unbelievable. I know some of y'all will get it, but it's out there. I'm telling you, I interact with these beings. This is not fantasy to me. This is my life. Again, a lot of us are related to these beings. By blood and by soul and spirit. Captain, you said he had a crown very tall and melanated. He had a crown. He was very tall and melanated. Okay, which one is it? Gosh, there's so many, y'all. The thing is, y'all, when I share certain things, I'm sharing a particular event, but I've had so many. But yes, I have. I had an experience with a being. Keep in mind, there are different levels and different groups of royalty. So whenever um, I'm very clear that when I'm in the presence of some of them have horns growing straight out of their head. It's not a literal crown, even though some of them do wear things on the helmets and stuff like that. Some of them are royalty because they have these thorns, these crowns growing out their skull. So yes, I have. Baby girl says she dreamed of Trump taking kids and stomping their hands last night. ABB, your daughter. Oh, we gotta talk about. Okay, I can't say what I. Okay, I can't comment on that one, but I will say this: there is a concerted effort to paint a narrative that is false to basically thwart the most likely trajectory, and they can put this on children. Keep in mind, we have beings who have the ability to shape shift and look like anyone. The monitoring spirits, so to speak, when they monitor, they can scan your likeness and they can replicate that likeness. So a lot of these people who say uh, they sing certain people doing certain things or whatever, it could be true, but if you have to vet it, is this a being who's purposefully doing this to help to get a person to put out a narrative to shape a certain kind of narrative? Or could it be a parallel version of this person? That's why I say the more people present something, the more questions we need to be asking. We need to vet it with a fine-tooth comb. Again, the monitoring spirits are here. They've always been here, more coming in, but this is the last thing I'm going to say, and I'm going to have to go. The others are a group of people. In my last video, I said that fraction of our military has learned and mastered astral projection. And I've seen it. Now, you can be on an astral realm, right, and be in the same space as someone who is doing it, but they won't see you, but you can see them, because again, it's a frequency game. If someone who has the ability to astral project and they're vibrating here, and this person is only able to vibrate here, they're not going to have the mind's eye to see that being in the same space. So there are those of us who are vibrating here who sees. That's why I said a long time ago, they're monitoring us and monitoring people, but they're being monitored too. And some of them really think they're at the top of the food chain. They're being monitored too. So we literally saw how they all, members of the military, work together and they go out in teams. And these are among the monitoring spirits as well, y'all. This is for entertainment purposes, by the way. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. It's a lot going on. Y'all just continue to work on yourself. Stay in the frequency of love, neutrality or love. Those are the two safest spaces to be in at this time. I know it's hard, but you got to work and do it. Release traumas, all that dark stuff. Stay away from identity politics. Don't get caught up in division. Try to stay. Yeah, I don't want to, keep repeating myself, but that's pretty much it. As always, thank you so much for this moment. And never forget, y'all, in the ultimate scheme of things, we are love. We are truly all, even those guys, are loved beyond measure. The only reason why we are where we are is because of the choices we made, and we put these blockages and these not so positive things, and we bring them on ourselves by our own choices. The ultimate Almighty is not doing that. We do it to ourselves and in ignorance. That's why they say, my people suffer due to lack of knowledge. All right, that's it, guys. Thank you so much. Y'all have a great evening. And it probably will be a while before I do another live, because I'm not a fan of them, and I already told you why. But I will be back. More content to come for sure. Thank you, guys. Good night.